With Nagaro's diverse range of resilience engineering services, you can build robust and reliable systems and ensure business continuity. Our tailored solutions ensure that your brand has the unbeatable advantage of staying at the top, even during unforeseen events.
Right. Hi, everyone. I am Sarthak Jain, a senior software developer at Harness and also maintainer at Litmus Kios project. I really hope you guys are having fun here. And to continue this, we have for this session with us Anuj Gupta and Chandra Dixit from HCL Cloud Native Labs, who will be talking about chaos engineering for SRE enablement. So, yep, please go forward.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon wherever you are. And myself, Anuj Gupta. I'm leading the Cloud Native Operations and Platform Engineering team for Cloud Native Labs and Advisory Services in HCL Technologies UK. We are the hub for cloud native technologies and act as a center of excellence for cloud native technologies within HCL Tech. And as far as site reliability engineering is concerned, we are the early starters. As far as site reliability engineering consulting is concerned or the enablement is concerned. So I have been joined by Chandra Dixit along with me. Chandra, would you like to
Thank you very
introduce
much.
yourself and then we'll start?
Yeah, thanks, Anuj. So, hi everyone. I'm Chandra Dixit. I'm a SRE architect at HCL Tech Cloud Native Labs. And as Anuj was saying, we are one of the early adopters of SRE enablement in the enterprise space. And we have been working through uh, chaos engineering practices for quite a while now. And this talk basically explain how did we do SRE enablement through that for our partners, for our clients, and our team members even. So yeah, moving on.
Perfect. So uh, basically, we start with the introduction of the Cloud Native Labs. That is what I was talking about, which is the Center of Excellence for Cloud Native Technologies, and all the topics such as site reliability engineering, the associated topic of chaos engineering comes within the Cloud Native. So let's just have the introduction of Cloud Native Labs. And I would not say it's a very copybook sort of a definition, but then as far as the presentation is concerned, we should not be undermining the PowerPoint presentations, but understanding the right technologies and solution is something that lab showcases the real hands-on engineering work, and that's what we bring within the Cloud Native Labs. So basically, it's about showcasing the real hands-on engineering work. And the Cloud Native Labs, if you see, there are four major bubbles or the areas where we operate in and where we kind of provide value. It starts from strategy and direction, if I have to say, Cloud Native Labs is a place where we sort of give the strategy and direction towards cloud native technologies, and it's about the hyperscaler selection, cloud native technology selection, or even for a smaller minute pieces of selections like service mesh, whether it's linker deselection or istio, or a larger technology landscape. So all that technology consulting piece is something which is coming under strategy and direction. And then comes the art of the possible. Now, if customers have decided that the strategy, that this is where we need to go, so there are a lot of services which are being launched uh, time to time. So how to have that art of the showcase the art of the possibility to the customer, that this is how this service or this is how this technology has to be operated in, that this has to be kick-started. So there are a lot of vertical industry extensions that we have, and we enable within the Cloud Native Labs. There are showcases, as I was talking about, which are end-to-end showcases, whether it is site reliability engineering related showcases, or there are showcases related to DevSecOps, or observability related showcases, application modernization related showcases. So all of these showcases are pretty important in terms of the art of the possibility. But then comes the adoption and enablement, because that is one of the element where, how, once we have got the art of the possibility and there is a little bit of adoption, but how do we adopt at scale? What are, how we should do it, how we should do the adoption with the help where there is a massive scale of adoption needed. And then so in that case, what happens is we have done kickstarters. So there are kickstarters, there are proof of concepts which we do, and then there is, engineering work that we do along with our partners and our customers. So that enables the speed within the adoption. uh, so within the application engineering piece, or the infrastructure transformation, what we do is, we sort of, right from the basic understanding towards cloud native pieces, whether it is the fundamental understanding, or say having discussions like domain driven design, starting from that, event storming, which helps re-architecting the applications and, moving them from the monoliths towards the microservices based architecture. And these are, while these three pieces are very important, but one piece which is, core to this is that once we have all of this, we have got the right strategy, we have got the art of the possible showcases and adoption and enablement also. But then, do we have the right cultural transformation within the organization, which can enable and push the change, which can have the cloud native as a state of mind in the organization? So, uh, how to have the cloud native operations being managed, for example, cloud as a product platform, as a product, the practices like site reliability engineering and platform reliability engineering adopted at scale. So for that, what is needed is the workforce modernization, because there is a massive gap between, whatever the people have in terms of the skill and whatever they need for running these cloud native workloads and operating these. So we have these cultural transformation services as part of the very important services that we are offering from Cloud Native Labs. Okay, so this is the basic introduction. We are present globally. We are present in US, we are present in United Kingdom, so EMEA, and also in India, and we are continuously expanding in terms of the lab's presence. Uh, why, yeah. So I'm moving to the next slide, which is specifically towards site reliability engineering piece, and that is what today's context is, related to chaos engineering. So Chandra, if you would like to just
Yeah,
click on these services from Cloud Native Labs,
yeah,
over to
thanks.
you.
So, under the cultural transformation piece that Anuj was talking about in the previous slide, we have got specifically for SRE some services coming out of Cloud Native Labs. These services fall under three major pillars. SRE enablement, where we basically work with teams, our delivery teams, our delivery partners, our customers for the SRE skill assessment first up, and then also enhancement of the SRE skills. We run quite a few extensive programs, learning journeys, and we also run certification programs, which certify these cohorts, these members that go through them as a SRE, either associate or a professional level. You can also see on the left hand side the number of SREs that we have enabled so far, and that number is continuously growing. Then the second service, the SRE advisory service, is mainly a SRE consulting service in which we work with our customers, our client partners, for assessing their current state. What are they missing in terms of tooling, practices like chaos engineering? How do we work with them to introduce these practices. How do we hand hold them through different stages of these practices? In one of the earlier talks, we were Oma was mentioning different levels of chaos engineering practices. So we sort of take them through and increase the maturity. um, we also work with teams in terms of SRE implementation, defining their operation models, defining their automation strategy. uh, and moving further, the maturity assessment services also kind of work hand in glove with the SRE advisory services. So basically, we have SRE maturity assessment framework in which we assess kind of uh, a lot of customers current practices, their current tooling, their current maturity, uh, place them at a level where we think they are, and then give them recommendation, give them corrective actions, and basically chart out a plan for them from all aspects, from all tenets of their current practices, to take them to a desired level of maturity, to a desired efficiency, SRE wise. As part of this, we do workshops with our customers, and we do demo a lot of these practices, chaos engineering in particular, in the current context. And we basically show them, first you have to sort of educate them, show them what these practices are, show them smaller examples, and then show them some, do some workshops with them, and show them examples of how these practices can be adopted into their particular environments. We have worked extensively over last 2 3 years, I'd say, with a lot of customers. I know there's a number on the screen, but I know for sure that that number is growing and is slightly higher than what is mentioned here. We have a big team of SREs and SRE consultants who are certified in the technologies. We do experiment, we do explore a lot of these technologies, and particularly around chaos engineering. We have been playing around with tooling from chaos native earlier on, and now harness, along with other tooling. There are quite a few in the market right now. So moving on then, uh, I'll ask Anuj to basically introduce how how has been our journey, what's been the timeline and the key events of our journey with chaos engineering.
Yeah, in fact, thanks, Chandra. And from the previous slide, just continuing from there on, that we assess the maturity of the organization with respect to SRE, uh, and then we suggest the right sort of services towards the advisory. So, all the advisory, that what is right, what is not, and then we provide the enablement. And as part of the enablement, we started this enablement exercise since quite early. So we are enabling our delivery resources, so delivery teams, plus our customer resources towards site reliability engineering core skills. And as part of that, chaos engineering was coming as a major play, where how to make services resilient using chaos engineering. So what we did is we started exploring around possibilities around chaos practice, and we also installed this within the lab setup, did a lot of experiments. And that was, that started somewhere around, as you can see in the timeline, around August 21, right? And during this phase, there's a lot of demonstrations which were done to our cohort members, as we were talking about. So there are SRE cohort members who keep coming into the accounts, and we were training and coaching them. So we were kind of also not only exploring the possibility but also coaching the teams around that. And then comes that, how are we utilizing? So we made this as part of the overall curriculum uh, for SRE associate program that we are running. It is one of the popular program that we are running for the SRE related coaching and enablement. And then comes the and that was happening months after months. Basically, if you see the timeline, that was not, didn't took much of the time. But post that, what happened is the simpler experiments where the chaos radius was little less, we would say that those were the experiment we started initially. And we started experiment with some of the non-critical services initially, and then we started with coming up with some of the critical services later on. So where there are complex workflows related to the services, and that was, by the end of 21, which is December 21, we were executing the complex workflows on chaos engineering. We were also giving consultations to our customers by this time. And then what happened is that, the demos, because we within the cloud native labs, what we do, as I was saying, we are showcasing end to end cloud native stack. And resiliency, building resiliency of the services is extremely important. So we showcased these demos, like how to have chaos, for example, uh, as a code, introducing chaos experiment as a code, or having some of the dashboards, observability, etc. So all of this was being done in a pretty effective manner. And right now, since that time, what we are doing is our maturity on this space has immensely increased with the help of the team that we have. So we have got experts like Chandra, and there are a few other members who are continuously experimenting, enhancing these chaos experiments, and also discussing with our cohort members, having a lot of uh, experiments during these cohorts, plus also the real industry grade experience that we showcase to the customers. And in essence, overall, as you were seeing in the last slide as well, and here, that there are close to, more than 900 SREs. Those are enabled and trained, and major part of which were having all the SRE components or tenets. Chaos engineering was one of them, because that is the context that we are talking about. So that's why I'm focusing on chaos engineering. So major part of our cohorts were enabled on chaos engineering, so you can understand the multifold impact that we are creating on the SRE enablement. And everywhere we covered the chaos engineering. So the massive demand which is going to be created to make the services resilient is already visible in the organization. And if I say, if it's not that visible, it's forthcoming. We already see the demand from the customer that, tell me, even though this is new kid on the block, as the title says of the session, but we already seeing from the customer that, can you tell more about the chaos engineering? How do we implement? How do we kick start the journey related to chaos engineering? Uh, okay, so we would like to move to the next slide. Guys, please type in your questions if you've got, and we will respond those at the end of the session. But we want to just explain that what are the functionality explored. Chandra, please carry
Yeah,
on.
thank you. And I just want to add to what Anuj was saying about the SRE Associate program, SRE Professional program that we are running. These enablement program, in terms of the impact that they create, is immense. It needs to be emphasized. In terms of number of engineers, in terms of number of clients and customers that we interact with. Uh, Putting out a program to introduce new practices and making these kind of impacts, it has been immense, and we foresee the in future that it's just gonna increase. So yeah, that's another point I wanted to add to that. In terms of the chaos functionality that we have explored, you would see the same progression here as well. That when we started with simple experiments. We were not particularly in context of Litmus chaos. We were using the front end, chaos center quite a bit. We were creating manually driven flows, flows which were already there from Chaos Hub, and we were understanding that. Gradually, once we understood, okay, the flow is like that. This is what happens. These are the steps that get performed when you trigger something. we started playing around with complex workflow based experiments, where we were mixing a couple of experiments together, probably deploying an application, for example, and then targeting each of the microservices which were part of that, and just observing the behavior it had on the telemetry being collected, whether it's golden signals, whether it's just any other kind of vital signs coming out of that application. The next step that we kind of thought and moved towards was that we figured out that okay, it has an Argo CD integration. It can basically allow us to run workflows there. So then we use GitOps quite a bit. Around the labs, we are big GitOps users of Argo CD. Even Flux as well. So we sort of explore that side. Okay, then if how do you create a workflow, how do you integrate that to Argo CD, and at that point of time it was a bit of manual integration, that you create we were creating workflow as we understood that Litmus allows a workflow to be triggered, and because it has Argo workflow controller, and then we were just passing it, creating a workflow, passing it over to the Argo workflow controller. Moving on from there, then we sort of integrated that to CI/CD system, because we also wanted to integrate chaos engineering now to the other aspect of application deployments or developments, right? So the idea was that when we demo it, adapt it to a customer's environment, we'll be looking for their CI/CD pipelines, for their continuous build and deployment flows, and looking to integrate chaos there, right? So then we basically the bit around workflow, we kind of took that and adapted that onto Jenkins pipelines, GitHub Actions, and we've done demos like that. And then finally, there also have been a progression in terms of uh, which all technical domains we have used it for. So Kubernetes probably has been the most used technical domain, because we are cloud native labs. We work with Kubernetes quite a bit, all flavors of it. But we have uh, worked with chaos tooling around Azure, AWS, even private clouds. So we have done a full round kind of experimentation using these tools, and I'd say Litmus Chaos has been really good among the tooling, uh, in terms of providing us that wide domain, right? And moving on, particularly around the chaos workflow example, because this has been a big hit, I would say, among the demonstrations that we have done. And the reason for that is, as I was saying, it gives us opportunity to adapt chaos engineering into a particular environment, which a client may have, a delivery team may have, and it gets it more and more contextualized into their from their point of view. So the flow for this, we just wanted to explain how we do it. So flow for this is, we do create Argo workflow, uh, in which we can basically put in steps about what a chaos scenario should be doing. So you may have steps like, I wanna first, if it's a clean cluster, for example, you want to probably install some sample application. Then you want to install the CRDs related to chaos experiments, Litmus chaos experiments in this case. Then we basically would want to run some different kind of experiments like pod delete, or service impact, or CPU overload to a pod, those kind of things. So the idea is, for the overall pipeline, is that when we have a workflow file, it gets checked into GitHub repo by a developer, and from there, in this particular case, GitHub Action CI/CD system like GitHub Action picks it up and submits it to an Argo workflow server. And then Argo runs the workflow. The workflow will then be executed, and it will start creating the required custom resources. In case of Litmus, it will be first, sort of creating chaos experiments on the cluster. Then it will be creating chaos engine, and once the chaos engines are running, it will also be creating the chaos results, right? um, and then so once these custom resources are created, the chaos experiments are actually executed through these custom resources. Pods get deleted, uh, pods get CPU overload, and what have you. And also at the same time, because it gives us Prometheus matrix, we can configure Grafana dashboards with these golden signals, and we can have a look at you know is the for a particular service of application like stock shop, is the card service getting impacted, or recommendation service getting impacted in terms of golden signals like latency. So that kind of demonstration gives a very good understanding to the to the person that we are demonstrating, to the account we are demonstrating to, to the group we are demonstrating to, that uh, you can go in and you can run these faults. You can inject these faults into the system, and therefore identify what these faults do to a particular application, and identify weaknesses that were not identified otherwise, increase resiliency like that. So
Yeah, so
that's
just introducing very controlled chaos in the environment and checking the service resiliency, therefore improving it. We've got only 1 minute, Chandra. So I think, and we are at the end, so
yeah.
perfectly on time. But just that we want to highlight the importance of Litmus chaos uh, project within this whole exercise that we have been doing and the enablement that we have been doing. So we want to highlight the uh, the benefits that we are getting, and so that everyone is adapting this project. So we are not only adopting it but also contributing on it from the perspective of all the learning, being it open source, and it is compatible with different flavors as it is written. There is a very good set of APIs and custom resource definitions, which is allowing us for the complex implementation as well. Argo workflow support is something which you already seen in the last slide, that how we have orchestrated an experiment, chaos experiment using that. And this documentation is good. It is improving continuously. Uh, so all of this in a sense has is resulting into that what is sort of chaos engineering experiment that we are giving to our customers and we are introducing is making a huge impact, where litmus chaos is playing a very important role. That's what I want to summarize it with. And thanks for all of you for joining. We look forward that if you want to experience the chaos engineering journey or site reliability engineering related enablement journey, then kindly reach out to us at SRE_CNL at HCL.com. We'll be there to support and help you in getting the right sort of experience on these technologies. Thank you once again for
Thank
joining.
you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Karthik, do we have any questions? Have we?
Yep, Chandra and Anuj, that was an amazing session. We have a couple of questions in the chat. So
Mhm.
uh, we're out of time, yeah, but we can take this if you just want to dig
Can
Thank
into
you.
the.
probably take one question. It's not
Yeah.
easy to be
So
a custom user. Yeah. Well, Anuj, do you want to take
yeah.
that? Right.
Yeah, I mean, of course. So yeah, see, so it all depends. See, right now there is so much euphoria around site reliability engineering, and if we are enabling the right sort of practices, advocating the right practices, chaos engineering being one of them, if we are able to express, explain to the customer, they understand that how the services are going to be more resilient, because we have been facing this challenge. So you're right that it is challenging, but then when you see the advantage, that how the resiliency, so showcasing them what the how the resiliency is improving, giving them right examples and demos is something that we has helped us. I hope this answers your
Yeah.
question.
And just to add one point to that, uh, and this is personal opinion, quite a few number of times when you talk about an open source project to an enterprise client, there's a bit of hesitation about how it's going to be supported. So it becoming an enterprise supported product in the harness suite has been really welcome change. So yeah, thanks
Yeah,
guys for that.
thanks for adding that up, Chandra. Yeah. Any other question? I think we can take up another one if the time permits, Sarthak.
Yep, we have one if you want to take that quickly.
Yeah, it's the most common chaos related ask you have encountered in your client engagement. Okay, I can probably answer that.
Sure,
Um,
sure, Chandra. Good.
Probably the most common ask that we have encountered is that how is it different than randomly going into a data center or randomly looking into an IT state and pulling plugs, right? And the fact that you have to explain and you have to demonstrate that it is not a random practice. It is a discipline. It is an engineering discipline in which you systematically design these experiments, and you basically uh, increase the resiliency of applications or platform as a result of that. Explaining that journey is challenging, but at the same time it is quite rewarding as well once you get through that. So yeah, that's probably my take.
Yeah, that was a great answer, Chandra.
Thank you.
And yep, that's it. So thank you guys for joining in. We have a 15-minute break here. We do have quiz lined up, so if you want to just have some fun, you guys can have. And yeah, it was an
Right.
amazing session, Anuj and Chandra.
Thanks guys.
Thank you. Thanks for your support. Thank you.
Right.